2 months changed my life. In the summer of 2009, I volunteered in rural Cambodia with Kumar Ne Kade Sankyam, KNKS. It's a grassroots nonprofit that works with some of the most vulnerable children in Pusat province, protecting them from gangs, drugs, domestic violence, child labor, child rape, and they do it all with a simple formula: education and vocational training. I worked with the executive director on generating income, and while I know that what I did had value and I taught her a lot, what I learned surprised me. I got out of my privileged white bubble and I learned how much of the world lives. Our small flat had no hot water, it had no real kitchen, it came with a resident rat, but unlike our neighbors, we had this. Uh-oh. We had this, a toilet. So I learned that many of the things that we take for granted in our lives, indoor plumbing, a stove, a hot shower, these are still luxuries in the developing world. I'm protecting the identity of the woman in this photo. She's a really valuable employee at KNKS, and she would do anything to help the children of Pusat province, but she can't help herself. She goes home at night to a husband who beats her because that's the cultural norm where she lives. And here's Ketcha, our accountant. Ketcha's really smart, he's well educated, he's not that well paid. He makes about $3,000 a year, and that's for 2 jobs because he also served as our translator. But unfortunately, his English is not really that good. So it was a good thing that I was there to help pull together a big grant to the EU, a big grant proposal to the EU. It came with 60 pages of guidelines in English, and it had to be submitted in English. So I learned that a grant maker sitting in an air-conditioned office in Europe with a safe house to go to and a cushy salary has no idea of the kinds of challenges these grassroots NGOs face every day. These young people are learning food handling skills at the Community Villa, the restaurant that KNKS runs. I thought we could promote the restaurant to tourists, so I invited the Provincial Minister of Tourism to drop by for lunch. Well, he did. He came, he ate, and he slapped a fee on every trainee in our program for a bogus government certificate. So I learned that the bureaucrats in Cambodia are too busy lining their own pockets to help the NGOs that do the work that the government should really do. But I also learned that you can make a difference, even in 2 months. This is where village children learn to read, not in the house, but underneath it, even when the monsoons turn the floor to mud. But thanks to a grant for $5,000 I helped secure, KNKS built schools like this one in 3 villages and funded each one for a year. And that big proposal I told you about for the EU, that was funded as well, $750,000, which means that classes like this will be replicated in 5 provinces, impacting thousands of young people and helping them earn a living wage. And if you're on your way to Angkor Wat, I really hope you'll stop for lunch at the Community Villa restaurant, where you will now be able to make a tax-deductible contribution because I found a US-based fiscal sponsor. So how did all this change me? Well, I'm much more appreciative of my circumstances, my education, my health, even my government. I'm much more aware of all the things that I can live without: a smartphone, a big house, a latte. And I'm much more determined to give directly to the NGOs that do the work so that my dollars won't be diluted by corruption, fraud, and overhead. And I'm going again. But this time I'll go knowing that I'll be a student as well as a teacher, and that the lessons that I learned can be transforming. Want to come? Thank you.